then if they think it went up too much or above what the market really is, you should be calling the assessor's office right away. The sooner the better, because we have a few people calling us that got raised a little bit too much. It happens every year, and especially in the high rent districts, and this is a high rent district. So don't be bashful. It gives you a chance to reconnect with the client, gives you a chance to let them know you still love and care for them, and they'll remember that, especially if you're asking them about their property taxes. I found something interesting when I came in this morning. When they first started introductions, this is actually a good sign as far as market goes. I noticed there were 3 people here from B of A and just 1 person from Wells Fargo. The guy in Wells Fargo is texting away telling his people, get your ass over here. All alone. And you guys showed up, so good for you.
All right.
Anyway, everybody worried about the banks in this business and what happened during the last big recession. And it's really interesting. Wells Fargo is one of the largest loan holders. B of A was number 2 because of countrywide acquisition. And then it kind of goes down from there. The interesting thing I saw in Antioch one day, and this is kind of indicative of the market all over the county during the recession. I had an appraiser, and he had a stack of papers on his desk of almost a foot tall. And they were all foreclosures in Antioch. And I said, how many do you have? And he says, 426. And I said, what's germane? What's interesting about these foreclosures? And he says they're all north of Highway 4, so they weren't new homes, they weren't new subdivisions, they're all older homes that people had purchased the homes, refinanced them several times to either buy an RV, put the kid in college, or go to Cache Creek. And they did. And these people had owned these homes. This is a really interesting part. They had owned these homes on the average of all these 426 homes. Average length of ownership was over 20 years. So these people have really low base year values as far as property tax assessments go under Prop 13, and they were losing these to the banks. So when these properties sold at the courthouse steps or short sold, however they were sold, the values actually went up because the old Prop 13 base was so low. The real interesting part about these 426 homes, and this was in 2010, I said, what bank owns most of the paper?
B of A.
No, it was not B of A, it was not Wells Fargo, it was Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank was the biggest purveyor and purchaser of second market money in the entire country. So a bunch of Germans over there are drinking really cheap beer now because they lost their shirts here in our real estate market, so I don't feel too bad about it. Anyway, what's going on in the market today is values are coming up, as you all well know. When someone buys a place today, it takes us about 6 weeks to work through our system. That's going to the recorder's office. Then after they do what they do, which takes about a week, they give it to the assessor's office electronically now, thank God, and we're saving trees. And it takes us about 2 weeks for us to get it on the tax roll. And then then we send letters out to the new owners and letters out to the old owners to make sure there's no fraud. That's a new program for the district attorney's office and the assessor's office and the clerk's office. There's actually been 3 or 4 attempts at fraud, and they actually caught them trading paper. The biggest problem with fraud is naturally relatives who want a piece of grandma's house or auntie's house, and they try and force the person into signing a deed over to them, and they record it. And the best ones are, you can always tell when they're doing something bad, because it happens at the assessor's office and the recorder's office. You get these 2 relatively young people, usually under 30, and they're dragging usually, 80% of the time, it's a little old lady, and she looks like the doe in the headlights of a car. I mean, she is scared to death. Her English is usually not her first language, and these kids want the house. The grandma wants to give us her house. What paperwork do we have to do? This happens like once a month in the office, and desperate people do desperate things. So what we do is we just have them have a seat, we tell them we get the paperwork, and we call the DA's office and the police department. And they take them off in cuffs. And the problem with this is now grandma's got to find a ride home. Anyway.
Can I ask you, Gus?
Yes.
When that happens, does the policeman, does mom have to prosecute, or is this something now out of her hands?
No, we do it. We're a witness to attempted felony.
So she doesn't have to do anything.
No, it's out of her hands. She says, no, don't do it. They'll beat me later. We say, too bad. No, we don't. You know, they take the adult protective services comes in for elder abuse. They're covered. I mean, I hope so. But we haven't found the bodies outside. It doesn't happen that often. It's about once a month it happens in our office. Anyway, but I want to give you guys also some other tools. Many of you are familiar with Prop 60 and Prop 58 parent-child transfer, where they can transfer property. That's usually done in an estate, but sometimes there's reasons to do it outside of an estate for family reasons or health reasons. And then there's Prop 58, Prop 60, where if you're 55 or years old, you can transfer to another part of the county. Trilogy on Brentwood just loves it. Rossmore loves it because people are selling their bigger homes, they're downsizing and transferring their property tax base. Don't forget about those issues for your clients. All those brochures are on the assessor's website. You can download them. If you want copies of them for your office, for your clients, I wouldn't recommend you mail these things like cold calling. This is something you want to sit down with a client with and actually talk about. We've got all the brochures you could possibly want for free. We'll mail them to your office or deliver them, whatever you want. So, does anybody have any issues right now with our office? I mean, I'm here to
I have a question.
Yes.
Over the last few years, lots of people have gone in and asked for reevaluation of their base.
Yeah.
And of course, when they first bought the property, that was their base.
Right.
And then it goes up 2% a year.
Correct.
So if you've reduced the amount, how do you handle it later? In other words, the values are coming back. What do you do to those people that reduced their assessed valuation?
Well, first we check if we like them or not.
You're right. That's
I'm not kidding. He's talking about Prop 13. Once you buy a house, you have a base year value. You can only go 2% a year, and no matter what the market does. If the market goes down, if we reduce your house below wherever it is, whether it's the base year or it's risen up over the last 20 years, if we reduce it, let's say, I would say the average reduction in this part of the neck of the woods during the recession was anywhere between 20 and 30%. And we did that over a 2-year period. I mean, in 09, we brought them down about 20%, 10%, and then in 010, we brought them another 20% down. And it was individual. We used to have to do what they called gross appraisals, where you do a whole neighborhood at once, and it wasn't real academic. Now it's very, very succinct. Our computer system does every house on its own. And then an appraiser who's assigned that area double checks it. So there's a chance for a human being to actually tweak it a little bit if they think it needs to be done. So now you have a house that's down 20, 30% below its base year value because of a recessed market. And then when the market comes back, we raise it back up to where we think it should be on January 1st, what the value was on January 1st. And it can come back just as fast as it went down, but cannot ever exceed where it would have been.
that's what I wanted to
the
know.
2%. Yeah,
it
doesn't give us a license to just raise wherever we want to. I'll be quite honest with you. You check with your clients to see what their values are. We think they're a little low, but we did that on purpose because about 15 years ago in Santa Clara County, when we had another recession and the market came back gangbusters, the Santa Clara County Assessor's Office they had all the best high-tech, they're Santa Clara County, in the middle of Silicon Valley. They had the best computers that you could possibly have. And they went in really fast and they popped all their values back where they thought they should be. And what happened was in March, I think of that year, April or March, the Fed raised interest rates and it killed the market. And the market just tanked, I mean severely tanked. Those of you remember it was like 10%. So the Santa Clara County Assessor's Office had to go back and reassess everything they'd done all year in a 2-month period. It cost them $250,000 in overtime. It was hellacious, and they were pissed off people all over the county because the values actually went down. I mean, the county who were counting on the tax dollars coming in were pissed off. So we all learned from that experience. I mean, so now we're very conservative when we're bringing the values back up because as of right now, the market's been on a tear for the last, 18 months probably, depending where you are. But all of a sudden, permits have almost stopped.
Yeah, everything kind of went.
So everything's plateaued right now. I don't see it going down, but I see it plateauing. So, I'm watching what the Fed's doing. We have a new Fed chair going to be coming up. We got the Democrats, Republicans trying to kill each other in Washington, which is fine by me. But that's affecting the local economy by who's doing what monies are coming this way. So, and then God knows what they'll do on the tapering of the $85 billion in bonds they're buying every month. They say that's going to probably be good now through February next year, which is good for our market. But there's a lot of uncertainty out there right now, and people are being a little nervous. I'm noticing there's a little bit more, there's more cash buyers recently than we've seen before, than people actually financing homes. I don't know if you guys are seeing that or not, but that's what we seem to be seeing on the paperwork. But the market's acting a little nervous, but not real nervous. Nothing like it was in 2009 and 10. Nothing compared to it. I still think real estate's a good deal. I hope so. I have enough of it for myself. But
Yeah, I have some clients and they're over 55 in a two-story house and they're looking to buy a single story. Now, if their house sells for like 2.2, how high can they go and still keep their profit?
the question is, she's got a client that wants to go from a double story to a single story. I don't think you have to be over 55 to do that. I'll have to check our website. It's Prop 110 that allows you to do that. And if they have a doctor sign a letter that says, this person can't handle a two-story house anymore, they have to have a one-story, you can transfer it, and it's even transfer. You can't move up. You can only move sideways or down in value. In value, not size. So if you sell your house in Walnut Creek, two-story house in Walnut Creek, and buy a house in Trilogy, it's not a problem. Because you'll be going down in value.
So you have to stay either at the same value.
Same value or less, that's correct. And you get to take your old base with you. But even that's fine. If you've had the house in Walnut Creek for 30 years, you have a base year value of $150,000. Trilogy, cheapest one in Trilogy now is like $450,000 now for a little dinky one. Interesting thing about Trilogy, go out to Rita Vista. Same models, half the price. Half the price, except when you walk outside, small children go flying by.
Right. Half the price,
That's right. My parents have a ranch out there, and they bought it out there in 1979. And my dad just turned 90, my mom just turned 88.
Wow.
And well, you know, if they keep going, I'm never going to inherit. This is I want their money, I want the real estate, I want their Buick.
Only the new Buicks.
Guys, march on down to the county office. We'll have the DA meet you down there.
Similar to Joe's question, downsizing and moving out of county. I know that Alameda will accept the base value transfer from Contra Costa.
Prop 90 you're talking about, yes.
Right, is Contra Costa
No,
accepted?
I've been asking them, I started asking the board of supervisors to consider that in 2007, 8, when we saw the market starting to come down a little bit. And I thought it'd be a good marketing tool to keep people coming to Contra Costa, right? Because we have this huge population transfer from San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, out to Contra Costa. And these people are moving out here because their kids moved out here because it was affordable housing 10 years ago. And they want to be out here with the grandkids, but the board of supervisors wouldn't do it. The only supervisor that I know of that was even interested in doing it was Candace Anderson, the new supervisor that represents this area. The last time I brought this before the board of supervisors, one of the board members said to me, and said in public, said, "This is on tape, right? Good." Their statement to me was, "Well, we don't want to subsidize rich people coming to our county." And my response was, "Oh no, we'll just subsidize poor people coming to our county." That's brilliant, brilliant way to think about economics. But that's the mentality I'm dealing with. So until some, as we say in Martinez, when the church bells at St. Catherine's ring a few more times, then we'll get change of bodies on the board of supervisors. Then maybe we'll get a mindset that's a little more, indicative of the business climate. I don't know what we're going to do in the meantime. Prop 90 would be a wonderful tool, not just for the real estate community, but for the residents of Contra Costa County who want to sell their houses and expands their market to people who have money from, other higher rent districts.
I have a question about that. Right now, there's 9 counties that are available for Prop 90 transfer.
Yes.
In the past, there were 7, so they change from time to time.
Yeah, it's permissive legislation. The state says you can do it. The board of supervisors, when they buy into it or enacted local ordinance, it's good for 5 years. You got to buy into it for 5 years.